Welcome to the WorkPlay podcast, where we deep dive into how to create a visual marketing strategy that actually moves the needle. Take a peek inside the minds of hundreds of WorkPlay members who have created successful visual campaigns that have generated millions in revenue.
I found in productions, the bigger the sets, the bigger the things you bring, especially with people that aren't as experienced in it, they get a little more nervous. They get a little more uncomfortable. It takes a little while longer to get into the mind frame and just almost forget about your surroundings. Your approach really helps, especially people that may be new to this, feel more comfortable and feel more engaged. And it's really about just capturing their natural kind of essence and vibe. And that's really important.
Chi and Sarah, welcome to the WorkPlay podcast.
Thanks for having us.
First of all, you two, Sarah, you are the Director of Communications at Kajabi, and Chi, you are the VP of Brand and Marketing of Kajabi, and we are so excited to deep dive into how Kajabi thinks about their brand and marketing, but also how creators can also think about their brand and marketing. And that is just going to be such a treat. So first, what is Kajabi, and essentially what do you do for business owners?
Kajabi is a creator commerce platform. So we help people turn their knowledge and passions into digital products. So like courses, memberships, communities that they can then turn into an online sustainable business. Our creators span from folks that are teaching parents how to sleep train their babies, or teaching people how to dance, teaching health and wellness, teaching specific types of embroidery and chair upholstery. It really runs the gamut in terms of all of the things our creators are teaching their customers what to do and how and what sorts of topics they can learn. And in terms of all of their success, to date, our creators have collectively earned over $6 billion in creator revenue, and over 85 million people around the world have consumed content on the Kajabi platform.
There's almost like a nostalgia around Kajabi. I feel like you guys were the first to do all the things. Do I have that right?
We have been around for over 11 years. We were very early to the space. And what's interesting is not a ton of people necessarily know about us, but the ones that do have generated so much revenue, have grown so large and been able to find that independence that they were looking for as entrepreneurs and creators. We're helping so many people grow their business and start their business, which is really exciting.
We must be in the Kajabi bubble because we have watched you grow. Founding member here. I've been watching you business-wise for the longest time, and I've been such a fan of how you've grown. But I'm sure there was so many ways that you've had to evolve throughout the last 11 years. Talk to us about that and how the industry has forced you to evolve throughout that time period.
Creators traditionally were building their businesses on the backs of social platforms. The shift that we've seen over the last few years is that while social platforms are an amazing place to build an audience, they are the best place to build your business. Whether it's building an email list, the digital products, that's the way that they can own their audience, they can own their revenue, and own their entrepreneurial destinies. And that's something that we're really passionate about Kajabi, and that we're helping our creators do, is turn those ambitious creators into wildly successful entrepreneurs.
Thank you for looking at the business side of it too, because it needs to be all in one.
That's one of the big benefits of our platform is while we have a really robust, diverse set of monetization tools, we also have that all-in-one platform. So you can build your website on there. You can have email marketing. You can do your full payments from there. We have really great analytics that is built into the platform. So this is an opportunity for creators to have one place they can go, and for their audiences to have one place they can go to really experience and grow a community with that creator. We're always thinking about what more can we do for our creators to help them continue to grow and scale in their business. And we get really excited when we hear back from creators of how a new monetization tool has allowed them to diversify in a different way. It's all about just like helping creators be successful, and then that in turn will help us be successful.
So why is a visual marketing strategy something that Kajabi invests in?
Visuals are so important because when you think about how people interact and consume content and information, the visuals help convey emotion. It's not often that when you think about it, you don't necessarily think about it in the forefront of your mind that, hey, this visual is doing this. but it's something that subtly you can feel. There's color theory. There's even typefaces. Are they clear? Are they not clear? Visually, when you see a person represented through a brand, then you feel closer to that brand versus being a cold corporate entity. In our world, we love putting our creators at the front of our messaging and love giving creators the voice to express the success they've had versus us coming out and telling you about it. So when we feature our creators, and oftentimes we're featuring their profiles or featuring their businesses, it helps convey the authentic stories that are behind our platform. And that conveys to people that they can connect with us and they can connect with the people that are having success and that mirror the type of journey that they may be on. So visuals are really a key component of how we express our brand. And you can see an evolution of that happening right now where we're injecting a lot more color. We're bringing more creators to the forefront.
Oh, I love that. And workplay branding in general, that's our bread and butter. We want to bring visuals in an inexpensive way to creators so that they can have this opportunity, because Kajabi is such a huge company, right? And you guys have so many resources at this point, whereas creators, we want to bring those same resources to the forefront. We had the opportunity to have WorkPlay and create visuals for Kajabi. Could you elaborate on where and how you'll be using those visuals in your content and in your brand?
So from a very top of funnel perspective, we'll be using a lot of the corporate executive headshots across all of our executive LinkedIn profiles, on our website where we feature a lot of the members of our team. We'll also be updating our careers page, visualizing what it means and looks like to work at Kajabi. And then from a PR perspective, we'll be using a lot of the branded shots of our office and our team for media placements and working with journalists on various stories. Journalists are always looking for a refresh of images from the brands that they cover to make a story feel fresh again. So that's something that I'll be using those photos for moving forward into 2024.
Just to add a little bit onto that too, when you think about the why that is important is, again, humanizing the brand. You guys have experienced Kajabi's growth and you think about it as a company, but behind that company is a lot of people that are working hard to empathize and understand the problems and to build these products. It helps when we can bring those people to life and show. And I think even press really loves human stories. It's not about Kajabi, the corporation, but it's about Ahad, our CEO, or Sean, our president. These are the people that are bringing these products and innovations to life. It really helps the connection between customers and audiences and readers connect with the story.
How do you think that creators who use Kajabi could also use it in the same way that you guys are using the WorkPlay method?
What I really love about what you guys are doing is similar to how we want to democratize platforms and technology for creators of all sizes, all niches. You guys are democratizing access to this type of visual element, giving creators of different sizes opportunities to showcase themselves, to bring themselves into the company. It's a similar thing where people aren't buying courses because of necessarily the information. There's a lot of courses, there's a lot of communities that they can join. But really what these audiences are gravitating to is the creator themselves, is their point of view, is their experience, is their way of connecting with that audience. And so when you can visualize the person, it really helps to draw you in and to remind you that this is a community based around this creator. It goes a long way when you have these visuals and you want to freshen it up, similar to how Sarah was talking about as you launch new things or as you diversify and scale, how has your evolution and growth happened? And you can convey that visually.
You can dive super deep into each campaign with the specific images. To be able to do that 4 times a year, 4 major launches and campaigns, like you said, brings that human side to like the material that they're trying, either they're coaching or through their courses.
Why do you guys think it's important for course creators specifically to invest in the visual marketing strategy, the actual strategy of creating the visuals with their marketing?
It's about how do you connect with your audience and how do you think about differentiation, what sets you apart, what's your unique take, what's your unique vision of what community and what product you want to showcase. Information can get conveyed very succinctly when you pair it with visuals. A visual can help you communicate something that might be complicated. and it can bring you into a vibe. Your visuals can go away in saying, are you a serious person that's going to go really deep? Are you more lighthearted? Are you more empathetic? So there's a host of emotions that you can bring forward through your visuals. That's where anyone can benefit from something like this.
I'm curious, what are the emotions that Kajabi wants to amplify?
Empathy is a huge one. We really are invested in understanding our customers and putting ourselves in their shoes. What are they going through? And it's funny because, we started off and we still are very much a startup. And so we mirror their journey. They may be at a smaller scale, but it's a similar path. We want to convey inspiration and confidence. We want to empower our creators to think big, dream big, but also help them to actually attain those dreams. So we want to give them the confidence, and we want to convey confidence that we've had experience, and we want to bring that experience to you and share that with you so we can grow together. Those two things are big components. We want to help inspire, give confidence, and then really empathize with the problems and solutions.
Well said.
So, in your guys' opinions, how do you believe the WorkPlay method, with this idea of creating visuals on a quarterly basis, can amplify creators' content inside of Kajabi to then generate more leads in sales? Just to give you context, sometimes our members will come in. Kajabi is their all-in-one platform, and they have a quarterly shoot coming up, but they also have a course launch coming up. What are some ways that they can amplify through the visuals, essentially, that they're creating inside of the method?
The way to think about it is it's a bank of assets that you're trying to use. So when you go into a shoot, you probably want to think about strategically, okay, where are all the distribution channels that I have, and where can these assets live? And when you talk about the 4 times a year you do it, it's really about refreshing so that your content feels new. Because oftentimes, if you're running similar things over and over again, your brain naturally filters out things that you already know, right? And so when you get something fresh, even if it's a similar launch, like a Rev 2 of a course launch, attaching new visuals to that will make it feel fresher and new. But also, if you're going to launch something new, you might have a different point of view or a different approach to that course. In those 2 ways, it makes sense to consistently try to make sure your content feels new and relevant for the audience.
I also want to touch on, I just noticed this because we're Kajabi people. Look, like we have used Kajabi for years and years and years. And email marketing and visuals have never really been able to come together. You guys could probably tell me when this happened, but you guys have an email creator where you can now attach the visuals with the emails that you're sending out. You're able to put photos in there and make it beautiful. I think Flowdesk was one of those platforms that started doing that. And then I was like, oh my God, I wish Kajabi would do that. And then you guys did it. How do you see visuals and email marketing? Because I know that's a huge part of at least our members and how they're selling, especially on platforms like Kajabi.
Visuals are massive in any kind of creative that you run because, again, it can draw you in and it can get your attention. When you see a wall of copy or copy in general, it just looks like lines. But when you see a color pop or you see an image of a person, those things stop you from scrolling past. When I think about email marketing from my past and what we do now, even within Kajabi, you can see a lot of our emails have a burst of color there, have really nice photography or an illustration of some sort to convey information quickly. And then we have some copy that pairs with that. I've experimented in the past of, do you put the headline first or do you put the visual first? And oftentimes it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to convey information quickly, you may put the headline first. But if you're trying to get their attention and have them sit and look, then you may want to put the visual first. The visual can really be arresting and can be the thing that either conveys information when you pair it with copy, or it can just be the thing that draws you in.
I'm interested to know, when did Kajabi start investing in visuals? Because there had to have been some sort of time when it was startup mode, just got to get stuff out there, versus, okay, now we have some time and space to actually think about the visuals. When in the journey did that start happening?
Visuals have always been a part of it. To your point, I think, we've, as time has gone on through our website builder, through our email builder, we have incorporated more of those visual elements in because, again, customers needed it. They were asking for it. It was something that we know we needed. And so we want to pass those learnings and experiences on to them. As far as our branding and visuals and things like that, that has come and it started to really evolve. So we're applying the same kind of thinking. I've talked to creators about some of the changes we've made and gotten their feedback on what they love and how it's progressing, and they feel more connected and they feel more excited about the brand, which is exactly how we want them to feel. So that's validating to hear. But that also stresses, to your point, the importance of branding, the importance of visuals in the communications. We're excited about like building more of those things into our product.
Why do you think it's worth it to do this 4 times a year rather than once every 2-3 years, like the traditional way that this sort of thing has always been done?
It's a combination of things. One is it gets dictated by the amount of new content you may be producing, right? Or a launch that you might have that's coming up, that you want to attach some fresh visuals, or you want to attach new visuals that may convey that information and that launch a little better and clearer. But there's also the reality of we're in a digital age. The attention spans are getting shorter. Social, distributing content across social and across emails and are only accelerating. And so you may need new content to freshen it up because people glaze over when they see the same thing over and over again. So to keep things fresh, to keep things innovative, and to keep things relevant for your customers and audience, it depends on you and your pace and scale of business to decide what that time frame may be. But you should be thinking about, okay, it's not just a one-time thing, but you're investing in this visual evolution.
If you could give WorkPlay members one piece of advice for going through this entire process, the way that the Kajabi team went through it, what would it be?
It's really trusting the process and trusting both of you. It doesn't necessarily include bringing all of the traditional equipment that a traditional photographer would bring to a photo shoot. What I realized is that actually gave us so much more flexibility in terms of the backdrops for each of the sets of photos that we took. It allowed us to be more flexible in terms of the angles that we took on each subject that we photographed. And it just gave us a lot more ability to move around the office, go outside, come back in. We decided last minute to take a group photo outside, and we wouldn't have been able to do that if we had all of this equipment that was coming with us. So trust the process, and the photos turned out beautifully, and you are both experts at what you do. We were incredibly happy with how everything came together.
When we showed up, you were like, so do we need like a tripod or anything? And we're like, no. We're just doing everything handheld because of this. Trust us, please.
Real experts at like understanding the use of natural light and just like the angles that we needed to take on each shot. You were right about everything. We didn't need all of that equipment. And I love that we were able to just move around the office and make decisions on where we were going to shoot folks just in the moment.
I also think that the handheld nature and the simplified nature of how you guys approach things mirrors photojournalism, right? And you're really just about, how do I step into a moment and capture that moment? I found in productions, the bigger the sets, the bigger the things you bring, especially with people that aren't as experienced in it, they get a little more nervous. They get a little more uncomfortable. It takes a little while longer to get into the mind frame and just almost forget about your surroundings. Your approach really helps, especially people that might be new to this, feel more comfortable and feel more engaged. And it's really about just capturing their natural kind of essence and vibe. And that's really important.
That's a huge philosophy of ours because creators are not models. And when you're wearing all the hats in your business and then now all of a sudden you have to be creative director and the model, that can be extremely scary.
I do try to capture natural things, and we may add supplemental things to heighten the moment, right? But the idea is still capture that moment, capture the humanity, capture the honesty, capture the authenticity of the person. The idea is to blend it so that as a viewer, you just see the person, and that's what you connect with. I think at the heart, we are still trying to just capture the creator in the most natural element. And then there are other times where we look at different ways that we may want to conceptually look at visuals that are different from that.
I think that's so exciting that a company like Kajabi is taking on that type of philosophy as well, because there has been like almost like a a traditional way of thinking where it's like it has to be like lights, camera, action, and it has to be this perfect set, whereas that's not necessarily authentic to anything about the brand.
There's an art to making things look supernatural. Oftentimes on set, I would go in after we've set everything and just turn things or just ruffle things up a little bit. People want to feel like there's a lived-in moment there versus it's a pristine set you're walking into, because then people are trained. They know when they see artificiality. We want to strip that out as much as possible.
So good. So good.
So true.
We're so appreciative that you brought all of this value to the WorkPlay audience and all of our members. Where can everyone find Kajabi and see all of the content that you guys have made?
Kajabi.com, our website, or you can check us out on social. We're on all of the social platforms.
Thank you guys.
for having us.